in 2060, after which it would have stabilized. If the replacement level fertility is arrived in 2030, which is more realistic according to demographers, the population will stabilize at 200 million in 2080. Under a less optimistic scenario of replacement level fertility being attained even later, say in 2050, the population will stabilize at more than 250 million towards the last years of the century. So, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, what we're really, facing here is a population momentum that is creating what is, numbers which many would say are quite unsustainable in terms of the carrying capacity of the country at this point in time. So let me just say that the demographic winter scenario is very far away, if indeed it will take place. And I don't think that we can use this to scare people away from the rational basis of the reproductive health bill. I would say, Mr. Speaker, let us use reason rather than scare tactics in order to be able to debate this issue very well. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, we will probably not reach agreement on whether or not our country is facing a demographic winter. We'll be facing a demographic winter with the passage of the RH bill. But what is becoming clear is that this RH bill is an anti-population measure. It is becoming clear that the object, the philosophy underlying this bill is one of population control. May I know if I am correct in that understanding, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, dear colleague from Palawan, no. It is fairly clear to all of us, the sponsors of the bill, that the object of the bill is to promote reproductive health, among which are the reduction of maternal mortality, child mortality, and the ability of families to be able to plan the size of their families and to space their children. Now, one of the consequences of the bill will in fact be if you give the choice and the methods to families to be able to plan their size of their family, that the sense is that indeed the family size will grow smaller. Because if you look at statistic after statistic, and I think this is going to be put on the graph, is that there is a direct correlation between the size of the family and poverty. And if you relate this to the unmet need, which people have constantly said that they really need to be able to have access to information as well as to methods of reproductive health, then one of the byproducts of the promotion of reproductive health would be a positive effect on the population, on the size of the population. So there is no demographic target to this bill. Go through the bill, there's no demographic target to it at all. But we're just saying is that by healthy reproductive health methods, that one of the consequences of this will be smaller family sizes. Therefore, a positive impact in terms of the rise and size and growth of the population and the rate of fertility. So we're really talking about the main aim. The main aim of the bill is really to be able to provide the methods, information, so that reproductive health will be fostered in families.
Mr. Speaker, the reason why I observe that the RH bill is an anti-population bill. It's a population control measures because in the earlier disposition of our distinguished sponsor, he gave us projections of the, I understand, of the United Nations regarding the increasing population of our country and the trend towards a bigger and bigger population in the coming years. And if that is not anti-population, I don't know what is, no? But what is clear is that the proponents of the RH bill, underlying the RH bill, is the idea, the philosophy, the thinking that we should be afraid of a growing population. Because on its face, what's wrong with having 93 million Filipinos? What's wrong with having 100 million Filipinos? What if we have 1 billion Filipinos? Then we can probably invade China instead of being afraid of the reverse of China invading us. What's wrong with a big population, Mr. Speaker? And that's the reason why this RH bill is very dangerous, because on the surface, and I'm sure our distinguished sponsor on the floor right now may be sincere in his own interpretations, but underlying this bill is that philosophy that we cannot help but notice in the reasons that from time to time come out, inciting reasons like a growing, a runaway population growth. Well, in fact, in itself, there is nothing wrong with a big population. In fact, the world was created for man, and the more people, the better the situation should be, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the consensus among the sponsors of the RH bill is a consensus around the primacy of reproductive health. And as I said earlier, when we were discussing it, the reduction or the decline in the population growth rate is incidental to the promotion of RH, of reproductive health. So, when we talk about the decline in the population size, we're really talking about something that's incidental, something that is a byproduct of the practice of reproductive health. At the same time, I think that there are concerns that I think we must pay attention to, that have been articulated by demographers, by economists, by sociologists, around the need to have a good balance between the population and the environment, around the fact, that we must have a good balance between population and our desires to reduce poverty